Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, the topic is Vivek. He's running to be governor of Ohio. And what he doesn't realize is he's not going to get the governorship, y'all. He's not going to get it. And if that Turning Point USA event did not wake him not up, nothing will. That they put that racism dead in his face. And to be honest with you, when I look online, I don't see too many people cheering him on, like you would see in any political race. You'll see some people for one candidate or, against a candidate. You don't see that when it comes down to Vivek. When it comes down to him, you don't see hardly anybody online that's behind him in Ohio. You don't see that at all. And I doubt if that's going to change in the near future. Number one, Ann Coulter pretty much told him the truth. He's too brown. She would never vote for him because he's Indian. That doesn't just apply to Ann Coulter, it applies to a lot of people in Ohio. I think these foreigners all must get the memo because when they come over here, they think the gateway to anything they want to get to is by showing their hatred for us. And when brown people or even folks from Africa come over here acting, it's just weird. It's something off about it. And it may entertain the white supremacists for a brief moment, but even they'll snap out of it after a while, and they already have when it comes down to Vivek. They're not feeling this man at all. They're not feeling him at all. But they all come over here and they try to jump on the bandwagon against us. And they seem to think this is the way they get to bigger and better things by stepping on us. No, it's not. Eventually, they gonna point out what you are, and they're doing this to Vivek right dead in his face. They're pointing out, "Man, you ain't one of us. You are not one of us. You never will be one of us, and you are not getting into elected office." I don't care what he runs for, president, governor, Congress. This man ain't getting no elected seat. He's not getting it at all, you know? And these folks, I guess they're going to have to show you a million more times. They don't want you. They already put you down because you are Indian. They put you down because of your brown skin, and they put you down because you're a Hindu. Okay, if you don't wake up now, buddy, there is no waking you up. I'm waiting for how long it's going to take him to snap out of it and really, speak up about the racism in the GOP. But he may never get there. Look, Nikki Haley never got there. Many of them, many of them don't, they really think they got a glimmer of a chance if they come out against us. They really truly believe that. And see, now that he's running for governor, he's really not coming out against our people, but he's getting attacked all over the place. So at this point, Vivek, you couldn't even use us as a deflection. You couldn't even use us as a deflection at this point. Plain and simple. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and you're going to hear what some people are saying, and they're not really with this man at all. I don't know who is managing his campaign. They need to talk to him and let him know, maybe you shouldn't waste your time running for office because the votes are not going to be there. His opponent is going to win in a landslide. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. IO. Okay. Thank you.
My opponent right now, you guys were joking that he's not in Ohio, he's in Montana, all these places. He's running for president. Let's just be honest here. He's hardly spending any time in Ohio, flying around in a jet, a corporate jet, to go from like Columbus to Cincinnati. He can't go the 90 minutes on 71. And we're going around in an old Jeep, literally. Like my husband can't keep enough oil in the car. But the thing, it's a metaphor for understanding and spending every moment understanding where the people of Ohio actually are. He's saying the same rhetoric that this state house supermajority is saying. They don't work on any of the issues Ohioans care about. Every measure, we're going backwards because they want to raise the economy, they say. They're not funding the local government fund, which is why property taxes are going up. It's all this trickle-down economic BS that we've heard over and over, where economists worldwide have said economies are built from the ground and communities being strung up.
So Vivek Ramaswamy had a pretty big day today. For those of you guys who don't follow local politics, do you want to see what he was up to?
I am honored to announce my candidacy to serve as the next governor of the state of Ohio.
Wait, that's my state. Look. I even have the sign. That's my state. Now, I tried to go through his speech and pull out all of the highlights. The problem is the entire speech was a giant highlight. It was incredible. I don't think I've heard a politician locally talk like that ever. So I'm going to try to pull out a couple of things that, well, let's just say there's a reason why we love Vivek Ramaswamy. There's a reason for it.
We're in the middle of a second industrial revolution.
It's happening in Ohio right now.
Deep in my bones that
Right now.
Ohio can lead the way again. If Silicon Valley was at the leading edge of the American economy for the last 10 years, it will be the Ohio River Valley.
Yo, Vivek Ramaswamy, my guy, dude. As an Ohioan, man, I would have loved to see you, but you're too brown for this state, man. And now that you can quit bowing down to the Republicans just because you want money and you realize how absolutely freaking racist people are, they're horrendous. I would have loved you to have a billionaire in my corner, but I'm way too far lefty for you. So you're not going to win the governor's race in Ohio, man, but I really want you to keep running so somebody actually qualified can win. Thank you.
I had to look into this comment expeditiously, and now I kind of feel bad for him. Like, whatever. So he's like when Dave Chappelle was a black white supremacist because he was blind. That's what I think of Vivek. Okay. Try as he might, Vivek will never fully be accepted by MAGA. The Ohio gubernatorial candidate and former Doge co-chief came face-to-face with racism among American conservative youth Tuesday when he headlined a Turning Point USA event in Montana. He said to a student, "Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's Hindu to be a U.S. president?" The kid said, "But isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values? And isn't America..." Oh, I can't read this. "Isn't America what Protestantism is based on and how those values are? Wouldn't that contradict your beliefs?" One of the students said to him, "Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you're not a part of that faith?" If you're Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, a different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth. And that right there is why his words are so disturbing. He's trying to tell Republicans to be Democrats so that he can win the Ohio gubernatorial race as a Republican, but he'll never win. He's not white. He's not a Christian. He doesn't understand that the Republican Party right now, especially if you're going to a turning point event, only cares about one thing: what you look like on the outside and who you pray for on the inside.
Vivek Ramaswamy made a video after this shellacking of this election this week, offering some sage wisdom to the Republican Party, which I'm sure they'll love, seeing as he's never served in the government, nor has he ever won an election. He's just a professional candidate. And Doge didn't even want him. So take all that, in stride. The first thing he says to them is focus on affordability. We need to talk about affordability. This is what people care about. This is a billionaire with a private jet who uses his jet to get around Ohio. This is a man who could afford, if you live like me in rural Ohio, he could afford to buy your township, your town, your village. Just buy it outright. He could afford to eat out for every single meal for the rest of his life at restaurants, and it wouldn't even put a dent in his money. But we're supposed to think that he cares about what it costs for you to go buy food at the local Walmart that has in the parking lot a spot to hitch your horse. Mm-hmm. And he cares about what you're paying for that next propane delivery or your next electric bill. When your windows are leaking and you're using up more heat, you're running that extra space heater to keep your house warm. He cares about that. Do you think that Vivek, the investor, he's going to stop people from buying up all the rural land and developing it? Or they're trying to put a mega site in and take out a bunch of farms to put in a mega site. You think that Vivek is going to stop that and protect your rural areas? Okay, I got something with We the People and a gold-plated Bible I can sell you right now. We just cut to the chase. But Vivek made his money by swindling people. He buys up washed up drugs like this Alzheimer's drug, reworks the research with the help of his mother as a doctor, his wife is a doctor, touches up this research, and then sells it to investors. And they invest instead of a legitimate drug that might actually help people with Alzheimer's. And he gets them to invest in his bullshit drug. And that's how he has a jet. So if you don't want Ohio to be his consolation prize, we need to start fighting against it. But here comes a problem. The next part of this video, he talks about Republicans need to get away from identity politics. And what he means and what he's saying is, oh my God, you guys are so racist and you're being racist against me. And that scares me. And I want you to stop doing that so much. And as much as I would love to see the Republican Party not be racist, I don't think that's happening. They have dangled the red meat for these people. There is not a form of bigotry that they haven't bid on. And Vivek looks like their red meat. And I'm sure he's getting told that by a lot of people in Ohio. So, good luck with that, Vivek. Since you're such a great candidate, I'm sure they'll all listen to you. Since you've won so many things, I'm sure they'll all pay attention to you. But Ohio, we need to stop this guy from receiving our livelihoods, our entire state, as his consolation prize for being too big of an asshole to be in Doge.
Okay, so Dinesh D'Souza is shocked and appalled that MAGA is being racist against the GOP candidate for governor of Ohio, Vivek Ramaswamy. And it's like, sir, where have you been? Okay, the GOP has been trying to push back civil rights further than Vivek's hairline. This isn't new. I can't, the amount of times I've posted something on the internet and had to read, I can smell her through the comments, written by somebody I promise you does not wash their legs. Countless. Also, this really isn't new. They told him to go back to where he came from. Yeah. I was a child walking home from school when one of my neighbors yelled, go back to where you came from. But I didn't know racism, so I was like, yeah, that's where I'm going, stupid, home. You're not okay. You are not shocked or surprised about racism. You are shocked and surprised that it is finally affecting you because I guess you had a head injury. Why did you think you were exempt?
Vivek Ramaswamy just went from next-gen GOP savior to self-proclaimed loser. His words, not mine.
We got our asses handed to us in New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City. Democrats swept all three.
He actually said it. We got our asses handed to us. New Jersey, Virginia, New York City. Democrats swept everything. And now Vivek, who once called himself Trump 2.0, wants to teach Republicans a lesson about why they lost. Buddy, you didn't lead a party. You auditioned for a podcast. He says the GOP should focus on affordability. Okay, genius. Where was that energy when your billionaire buddies were cheering for corporate tax cuts while middle-class rent tripled? Then he says Republicans should, cut out the identity politics. You mean the same guy who built his brand screaming about wokeness every 5 minutes. That's like an arsonist saying, we need less fire. Vivek's whole campaign was Silicon Valley cosplay. All slogans, no spine. He told people he was a fighter, but the moment Trump looked his way, he dropped his gloves and fetched the man's Diet Coke. And now he's preaching about character? Bro, you tried to ride MAGA energy until it threw you off the horse. So yeah, when Vivek says, we got our asses handed to us, he's finally telling the truth. Because the GOP didn't just lose votes, they lost their soul to a bunch of wannabe influencers pretending to be patriots.
Follow and subscribe to US News Clip. We don't chase headlines, we expose what matters before it's too late to matter.
We got our asses handed to us in New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City. Democrats swept all three. There's 2 key lessons for Republicans. Listen carefully. Number 1, our side needs to focus on affordability. Make the American dream affordable.
First of all, yeah, you got more than your asses handed to you. You lost every fucking election that there was to be had on Tuesday. And let me repeat myself. You lost every fucking election that was had on Tuesday, all the way down to trash collector. Republicans lost. Everything. 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 And second of all, Vivek, they don't like you, bro. They don't like you. I don't know why you still trying to be a member of a club that they would rather not have you a member. You are not going to be the governor of anything, sir. You're not. Just go back to your pharmaceutical company and just live out the rest of your days. Politics is not for you in this country. It's just not. People are looking at you and they're seeing Doge. They're seeing loss. They're looking at you and they're seeing how you kissed Trump's ass, how you still got your head up Trump's ass and Elon Musk's ass. You're rich. You'll be okay. Why you need acceptance from people that are not going to give it is beyond me. Go away, bruh. Just go away. I'm sure there's a pair of light brown shoes for you to put on so you can sit your ass in the corner somewhere. Because we done. We done.
I didn't have any plans to talk about the Vivek Ramaswamy thing, but I'm bringing it up now because of something else, actually. So recently there was a release of young Republican text messages that were quite racist. And so I was watching a panel where they were talking about it, and the person defending the young Republicans was a brown dude, which is the reason for this video. I need my South Asian people to realize something. You can assimilate as much as you want. You can make a crap ton of money. You can agree with all of their talking points. You can jump through every hoop. But you really need to understand that to a certain portion of white America, you will never be acceptable simply because of your skin color. It is what it is. Now, why should you listen to anything I have to say? Because I'm token brown boy, right? So you know the social media posts where you see a whole bunch of white people and then there's that goofy-ass brown guy? Yeah, I'm the goofy-ass brown guy. I'm basically a coconut. And if you don't know what a coconut is, ask your South Asian friends. It's worth a laugh. So being in this spaces, I have 3 things that I'd like to share with you. Number 1, I still believe a majority of white people are not racist. What I've had to change up is I've had to calibrate my percentages. I used to think only about 10 to 15% were racist. I think that number is higher because I think there's a a bunch of covert racism that exists, which leads me to point number two. A lot of times you're not going to see it. The racism will be internal, right? They will be civil with you because a lot of times we interact with white America in professional settings, right? So you can't do it there, but they'll be civil with you, but I promise you, they're probably not going to invite you to their house, you know? Which leads me to number three, which is literally the most confusing one. Sometimes you can be the exception to the rule. Now, this one's a weird one. So sometimes you're accepted by a person who is otherwise racist. So you would assume at that point that, well, if you think I'm okay, you should have a different view of others that look like me. Not really. For whatever reason, you're okay and everybody else is not. This is the reality. Like, please don't be a Vivek Ramaswamy. Please don't be a Nikki Haley. Please don't be a Bobby Jindal back in the day. Understand the reality of the situation. Okay, because of your skin color, you will never be accepted by a certain portion of white America. It is what it is. Like, we just have to accept that, right? Anyway, we'll love to hear your thoughts. How'd it go with?
Yeah, y'all. Vivek throwing the towel. And besides, if you get the governorship, wouldn't you be considered DEI? I thought the GOP, Republican Party, right wingers don't like DEI. If you're a brown dude getting the governorship, wouldn't that be DEI? I'm just saying. That just doesn't apply to us. Wouldn't that apply to him too? He's brown. So he would be DEI. But I love it. I love how they're putting the racism and everything about him being a Hindu all up in his face. And he's just looking dumbfounded. I mean, just like that Turning Point USA footage I showed y'all. He's just standing there looking like a complete idiot. And I was like, see, these were the ones you were favored. You were standing in front of them talking trash about us. And the whole time they didn't like you. They were just amused by you. It's the same way with Candace. It's the same thing. They don't like you. They're just amused by you. That's all. Your entertainment. As long as you're entertaining them, yeah, they'll keep you around for a little while at least. But eventually, they're going to part ways with you. And plus, wasn't it Vivek that called them mediocre? Now, they didn't like that. Although it's true, they didn't like him saying that to them. You know, they didn't like that. So that in itself is a problem and something they're not going to forget. So all we're going to do is see whoever his opponent is going to be a landslide, y'all. That's all I got to say. It's going to be a landslide. And Vivek will be standing there giving his concession speech because he lost. They're not going to pick him. I mean, it seems like everybody can see this coming from miles away except for Vivek. He's the only one that doesn't seem to see it. Yeah, and Coulter sure did tell him. I guess he just didn't listen. She told him straight to his face, too. All right. So I want to thank one of many ancestral shadows for the super chat. And Coulter already told you, Vivek, shaking my effing head. Yes. Yes. She sure did. And thank you for your support for my channel. And it's not going to change. When the Ohio election comes up, whoever's on the Democratic side, the Democrats are probably going to get it. They're pretty much going to sweep most of the elections because of Donald Trump and his policies and all the stuff that he's doing with Project 2025 is going to cost his party a lot of seats in this country. So, look, he may be a billionaire, but somebody did not give that man any discernment at all. He doesn't seem to have any. So, y'all, I do have more lives coming up. So I hope you can return as well. I got, unfortunately, and it's going to be painful watching this, Kanye apologizing to a rabbi in New York City, saying he's taking accountability. So that's going to be at 1:45. I know, go get your best pain reliever and everything, or your best headache pills. Whatever makes you comfortable, your warm blanket and pillow, because you're gonna need it. This one is pretty nauseating. So I will be doing that one at 1:45. Kanye, oh man. It's amazing how he's extending apologies to a rabbi. But look at the jacked up thing that he said about slavery. He said it was a choice. I don't recall any apology for him saying that. Okay, but yeah, he went before a rabbi on bended knee and holding his hand and, begging for forgiveness. Wow. Ugh. Wow. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And I will see you at 1:45. Shalom, family.